champions of England.
We've conquered all of Europe. We're never gonna stop. From Palestine to Turkey, we've won the fucking lot. But Paisley and the Shankly, the fields of our field gold. We are all supporters, and we come from Liverpool.
There it is, 9 times League Cup win. There's Virgil van Dijk holding a flag. There's Harvey Elliott with a flip. And there's the main man, Queven. This is apparently, so g'day everyone. This is the Red Sea Down Under, Red Sea podcast, the match debate. This was something that all the Chelsea players were doing after they scored their penalties. They were just doing these ones. And it's funny because FIFA 22 removed this celebration from the game because it was such a shithouse celebration. And this is why it happens, because you can get completely shown up. I just wanted all the players to run around like that, like they do in FIFA, where they all run around and they all got the fingers on their lips and it looks ridiculous. Anyway, Liverpool are the 9th time League Cup champions. I'm here joined by Pete, Nick, and Jimmy. I'll start with you, Pete. You're sporting a retro jersey there, your retro shirt that actually I was wearing the exact same one this morning. I should have worn it right now. Maybe I'll skip out of the room and go put it on. But my goodness, guys, what a fucking match this morning. That was unbelievable.
It was worth the torture of waking up at 3:30 a.m. and kicking on until then without a nap in between. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, you kind of just wanted them to win 8-0 just so we could go back to bed. But alas, it did not happen that way, Nick. It was stressful. It was all the things that make heart attacks happen.
I don't know, mate. I was in my 7th dream by that time. I was periodically woken up by my phone notifications going off because stupid me didn't turn them off. And subconsciously in my mind, I'm thinking, I know there's a game on, but I need to sleep. And I woke up at halftime. I saw 0-0. And then I woke up at...
Nick, how do you wake up at halftime in a cup final and not stay up? What's going on?
It's the phone, man. It's the phone. I'm having a good snooze. I was loving life. And I think what happened was I woke up at one point. It was the 80th minute. And I'm like, oh, this is getting tight. Still 0-0. I said, let me see what happened. And I see Matip goal, VAR offside. I'm like, yep, that does me. I'm going back to sleep. And then I wake up and then I see 10 and then in brackets 11. And then I see Liverpool. I'm just like, yes, I can go to work happy now.
This is the perfect timing for entertaining 0-0 as Nick sees the scores and continuously drifts off back to sleep. Jimmy, you were wide awake. You were entertained by the 0-0. Looks like 2 eyes, the way that those 2 little zeros are. There were lots of eyes on that match. It was probably, as Pete and I were talking about off air, probably one of the most scintillating 0-0 draws you'll ever see.
I couldn't describe it better, to be honest. The end-to-end game, chances, amazing goalkeeping theatrics from both sides, it has to be said and recognised. VAR coming in and making inch-cut decisions. For no goals to actually be scored, it was an absolutely fantastic game. And you got to give credit to Chelsea for the 119 minutes where they did a fantastic job, ignoring the last minute of extra time when they thought they'd bring on a super sub. But we'll get into that very soon. But enthralling game, absolutely phenomenal. For a neutral, if you're a neutral watching that game, you're finishing off and going, "Yep, cool, fantastic game, no worries." As a Liverpool fan, you're booking an appointment at the emergency ward, because that's not fair on anyone to have to witness for 120 minutes plus penalties.
No, absolutely not. It was. I remember at the end just feeling like when each of those penalties was where they were stepping up to take them. I feel like I was aging. Like that's like it feels like a cop out to say that, but I did feel like, Pete, that I was aging throughout each one of those penalties. We will talk more about the penalties later, but I'm assuming your stress levels were through the roof. As we say, g'day, firstly to Boy Pello. Good morning, champs. We are the champions. And we got Rizzler here, just telling us about how great Luis Diaz is, Pete.
Oh, we were just talking about it off air, weren't we? Just how Diaz plays, and you think he's been here for what, 3 seasons, 4 seasons,
Yeah.
and you forget that was his 4th game for us, or 3rd game even. Like, so, what I love most about Diaz for me is just how he's like that thing that doesn't stop coming at you. It's just this, this guy again. He's just constantly with the ball at his feet, looking up and just going, you again, come on, again, let's go again. It's like when you play like with your little 3-year-old nephew, you pick them up once and you throw them up once and they want to do it again and again until your arms are almost like you can't lift them anymore. There's too much lactic acid. That's Diaz. He just wants to keep going and going and going and going. It's just, he ran himself to the floor in today's game. And it's not just the running, it's as he explains here, it's his tricks, that move he does to get around Reece James in the second half. He's always looking for a shot at goal. He's always looking to feed someone in. He's making forward runs. His pressing is exceptional. So that's a fucking bargain along with Jota, but that's a serious bargain.
It was crazy, and obviously Luis Diaz did start the game, but we had we'll go into like how the game went. We'll go first half, second half, and then extra time pens, and then we know what happens at the end. But we'll start with the first half. We did see, I want to see if this works. See if this works here. Oh, how's that going to, maybe this way? No, that's just me, isn't it? That's just me as well. This is the one that I wanted. So this is how the game starts there. Just to show everyone, just again, the lovely side that started the game. I don't know. I'm going to go back to you, Pete, just to get a bit of an insight as to what you thought as the game started. But there was this one moment, obviously, that we were all shattered by, is that as much as we love Naby Keita, he was replacing Thiago Alcantara.
Yeah, heartbreak is the word to describe that, because you think, Graham, it's a final. You need to obviously keep the ball, because there'll be periods where you are either up and need to retain and then kind of like keep tempo, or you're chasing and you need someone to, again, pick up the tempo and control the game itself and try and swing it back our favor. And Thiago is, with the ball at his feet, I still think one of the best to ever do it in modern football. And to lose him, 5 minutes before kickoff is a serious blow. And look, credit to Naby Keita, because imagine that, like, you can only imagine, as we were talking in the group chat, he was probably staring at the grass and looking up at the crowd going, ooh.
I remember the co-commentator, I think it's actually Upson. Upson says,
Yeah,
I think he sounded
Upson.
great. Sounded great for a Matthew Upson. I thought Matthew Upson would sound way different than that. But he said, and he was so injured his whole career. No wonder he thought like this. But he said something, and we'll go back to you, Pete, on that. But he said you always got to warm up as though you're going to start the game, as though someone might randomly get injured. I just have a feeling like in those warm-ups, like Keita's just like, I'm coming on 60. Like, let's just be real about this. I'm coming on at 60. And then he's been told he's starting.
Well, along with this comment here, I wouldn't say I gave up, but I definitely lost a little bit of faith, because I know that when Thiago starts with Fabinho, our record's at 100%. So, you know what I mean? So obviously that put things back into their favor. And as the game went on, I think we're going to talk about it quite shortly, but our midfield never really had control in possession of the game. Our midfield was quite good at the defensive side of the game. I think we pressed really well. We won the ball quite a bit, but we weren't very good at keeping the ball. I think that for me was shows how important Thiago really is for us.
Jimmy, I'm just going to put something up on the screen here. It doesn't really tell that much of a story about the first half, because they kind of all bleed into one. The idea of the Chelsea chances, but we get a few scares early on, and I don't know if we can that front three of Chelsea, because it was funny before the game. Tuchel says he's not going to start Lukaku because he goes, I need more movement up front. I need these types of players. They were electric. I'm actually going to put this up here. The Chelsea front three, I don't know if it was down to our midfield. I don't know what it is that you may have seen. As Pete said, we played well, but maybe it's just the fact that Chelsea are a good side. I mean, they're European and world champions. Makes sense.
Yeah, you got to give them some credit somewhere at some point, right? I think when you do have a front three of those kind of players of those caliber, they've proven already many times this season, especially earlier on in the season, they don't need a lot of time on the ball. They just need to be given the opportunities. They just need to be given the chance to run into space. I don't think necessarily that defensively we were poor. It's just that both teams are going for a cup final, and both teams are going to. There has been cup finals in the past where both teams may sit defensively, but it wasn't the case as much this time around. Teams took their chances. They just didn't get the clean cut. It was great saves, things like that, all over the place. It was interesting, though. I mean, going into the second half, and obviously we'll get to the second half in a minute, but when Lukaku came on, and based on previous comments that had come up with Tuchel and other people watching the game and things like that, he actually put on a lot of pressure onto Matip, which then led to a change for extra time. But when you've got players like Kai Havertz, Pulisic, as well as Mason Mount, those chances are always going to come up. And thankfully, our defence still had some good work to do, and Kelleher as well, repaying Klopp with his faith in picking him once again in the cup, which is fantastic. So when you play a Chelsea team like that, they don't need a lot of the possession. And it's funny because it didn't seem like it was, I think it was that 60-40 possession, something like that. Didn't seem like it during the game at times, and especially in the first half. But that's because Chelsea don't need to hold on to the ball that much. They know what runs they need to make. They know the quality that they've got to be able to take those chances when they come through. But thankfully for us, they didn't put them in the back of the net.
It's interesting. First half, it looks like 60 to basically 60-40. The entire game was 54-46. Second half, that's where it gets very even. Yeah. I think that's when and then extra time, they count these. First half of extra time, there's Chelsea, edge it. Second half, Liverpool, edge it. But basically, it's Liverpool with some degree of control first half, although we can see those chances. And then it's the second half that we get that crazy Mason Mount when he hits the post and he's onside. Like, it was...
I couldn't believe that.
I thought he missed altogether. I thought he missed.
Well, technically hitting the post is missing altogether. It's a shot off target. So
like it grazed the post. I thought it just went completely wide.
No, it hit the post and went along the line.
I'm thinking of another one. Sorry, I'm thinking of it might have been second half or the first half. I'm not sure where.
You're talking about the front post one.
Side footer, and he's just like gone outside that far post. Sorry, I know you're talking about the shot inside post and it rolled out. Sorry, yes, that's the one.
Well, this is something that I'm not sure how much of the game that you've seen, Nick. But
I watched the replay. Don't worry, I watched the whole.
You've watched the replay. Well, this is something. This is actually interesting. I was just doing this as a little bit of like look, I'm doing some interactive bullshit. But check this out. Pulisic, we know, likes to play mostly as a left winger, but we can see here his fluttering around the center, a little bit down defensively right. So that's weird. But then we got Kai Havertz as the striker all the way at the left. And I actually said, when I bring up this next player, that this particular Liverpool footballer, actually a fullback, so a little bit of a spoiler alert, made a great challenge on Kai Havertz out on the left. And I thought to myself, why is he out on the left? I'm not really sure. And then look at Mason Mount. Apparently their left winger is popping up on the left there. It looks like they were trying to target Trent Alexander-Arnold. And look at this. 8.5 man of the match, it seems, by SofaScore. What a game by Trent Alexander-Arnold. I've put here something that maybe doesn't do him justice because he's better than both of them. De Bruyne and Cafu all rolled in one. He just ran the show, Nick, from fullback.
I mean, what else can you say about this kid? We still call him a kid. That's like he's a grown adult now, but we still consider him like a bit of a kid because we've seen him develop throughout the youth years. But, I mean, a lot of people give him stick. They'll say, Trent's only good going forward. He can't defend, etc. And we know we do have some frailties when we are trying to defend in some instances when we don't have anyone on that right flank where someone else tries to cover ground, albeit maybe not as well. But in saying that, I mean, just you seeing the amount of work he did throughout that whole 120 minutes on top of Havertz and also Pulisic working around there, and Mason Mount. I mean, in one particular area, I mean, those three players alone are hard to handle for any average defense, let alone one particular player. I mean, just look at that. Absolutely insane. And even him cutting inside towards the center of the pitch, as he likes to do sometimes when Salah's out wide and he cuts in and plays little 1-2 passes or little lob into the box there. But even just his commitment, even in that second half where Elliott ended up getting in that scrap when his daddy James Milner had to push him aside and say, "Mate, what are you doing? Get out of here." When Trent tackled Havertz and he got up and etc. So Trent's engine is just absolutely insane. But I mean, full credit to him. You could see that maybe they were trying to expose him on that side there, but because they never ended up scoring, I guess you can say job done for Trent, as well as the other players along that back line and the other, 8 or 9 players on the rest of the pitch.
Well, there's another one. I just want to shout out here to Rizla. For me, Fabinho was a definite candidate for man of the match. Me and Pete were chatting just before we went on. We came on air and we were just talking about these two players. It has to be Fabinho and Trent Alexander-Arnold. We've got Rizla has read our thoughts, Pete. I mean, there's no bigger fan of Fabinho than you. Maybe me, actually. I'm not sure. Especially after recent events, stuff we talked about, Pete. I'll have to disclose that later when it's all official. Hush, hush. But Fabinho, the defensive mid. I mean, it's crazy how he doesn't even start for Brazil, and he's the best defensive midfielder in the world. He just had to kind of do the job of everyone. Kind of in Thiago. I actually like the way I've written this. Fabinho dominates midfield in Thiago's noticeable absence.
You're just a wordsmith, George. That's why you're an absolute wordsmith.
Thank you.
Look, Fabinho is like this industrial-sized vacuum cleaner in the middle of the park, and literally he just cleans up whatever it is that's in front of him. He's even like last night or this morning. You just saw it. Someone will break free. He slide across. Clean it up, slide tackle, or he'd intercept, stick at one of them legs out, pick it off, play to Van Dijk, and we go again. I think we're forgetting Van Dijk's performance, by the way. We're talking about man of the matches and all that kind of stuff. I think Van Dijk, for me, has to be mentioned because the form he's had now for the past 5 or 6 games, Van Dijk is like back. Like he was always good, but he's back now. Like he's that guy that people get shit scared when they go near him. So just a little shout out to
have you seen what Van Dijk tweeted, Pete, just quickly? What he put on Instagram.
No,
he's got the cup in one hand, he's got the man of the match trophy in the other, and his caption is "It's boss being a red." Like, how good is that?
I love Salah's caption.
Goosebumps, man.
Salah's caption?
Yes, one down.
One down. That just
goosebumps out about it, bro. Stop it.
I love that.
That makes me put out my head through a wall when I hear that stuff. I love that shit. But that's it. No, but look, going back to the whole Fabinho and the Thiago's absence, it's just, I feel like because it's a one-off game, I guess. Look, we're lucky we didn't get punished because Fabinho sometimes does get exploited by having to defend 2 or 3 players. But I think with Van Dijk being in the form he's in, and Kante when he came on, we helped Fabinho for once instead of no one helping Fabinho, which is not a shot at Henderson or anybody else. It's just, I mean, there's a reason why he came off 2 years. So, there it is. Look at that. But it's just good that we protected Fabinho last night at the same time instead of just leaving him stranded.
Absolutely. I mean, that's kind of what we want players like Fabinho to do. I think we'll move into the second half here because the first half, like we said, there were some weird moments, but we had that weird moment in the second half as well. And it's we were talking about that Mason Mount opportunity, and like we said here, we just go back to the stats. You can see there's 60% in the first half for us, but then 50-50 in the second half. But look at the shots there. It looks like Liverpool kind of turn into early Jurgen Klopp. They start turning into that counter-attacking side. There was a lot of moments where we were pressing them high, and especially Salah's chance, for example. We might actually have a chat about Sadio Mane and Mo Salah. But, that Salah chance was like vintage Liverpool. You know what it was? It reminded me of the goal against Manchester City where Edison fluffed his chance, and it comes to Salah, and then he scores from wherever. But that kind of sums up what the second half was like a little bit, despite the fact that it looked like, Pete, that we were kind of dominating them. But clearly from the stats there, it looked like Chelsea had at least control of the ball.
I think Chelsea looked like they were in control a bit more because they created more. I felt like Chelsea created more during the game. I think that's why. Look, it's hard with possession stats because stats are sometimes misleading. But I feel like for me, Chelsea did create the clearer chances, but I felt like we, at the same time, had a better shape, a bit more of the ball. I don't know if that makes sense. I don't know if you saw the same thing. I feel like we had the ball a lot more than Chelsea did, but I feel like Chelsea were more dangerous throughout the match. So I don't know if their stats actually, say that though.
Jimmy, we kind of see we obviously we've got that chance in the first half from Sadio Mane. It's an incredible save from Mendy. Does that end up being that is in the first half, or is that in the second half? No, it's in the It's in the first half that happens.
Yeah, that's the first.
Where
Yeah.
Keita's shot gets parried by Mendy, and then Mane doesn't
What a
put
save.
away. What a
Yeah.
save! Can I ask you guys? I'll start with you, Jimmy. Do you reckon any other player in our team puts that away, or it's just an incredible save? I mean, if it's Jota or Firmino, I have a feeling Firmino might have scored it.
Yeah, look, probably. To be honest, it's those are those two players, especially Firmino, that have got that finesse, that sort of little bit of a nice little dink to their game. Then they would know how to put that one past the keeper. But I genuinely think, because it's not like there's much time to think about anything. It's pure reaction. It's pure reaction, and it's a phenomenal save. I was cursing Mendy for his quality in this game, but you pull out the big guns in a cup final. That's what you want. That's what you need from your players. I mean, you can't put anything. I mean, you can say Bobby Firmino or Jota or maybe Diaz potentially. I'm not sure. I don't know. Even if he would be able to put that one in the back of the net potentially, but it's nothing against Sadio Mane. It's not that he's not got a great finish on him or anything like that. It's just it's a quality save from his international teammate. I can imagine there's probably been a few words said about that one between the two of them as well. But I thought Mendy. I mean, obviously we want to talk about Liverpool and how quality we were in so many places and so many times. If they had decided to keep Kepa in the sticks for their cup run, I don't think it would have been 0-0 by the 90th minute. That's for sure.
I love, by the way, I love the fact that I feel like in the lead up to the game that they were both asked questions about their goalkeepers. And did Kepa play all of their League Cup games? Was he their starting keeper? He was. And Tuchel's like, I feel like he was going, no, I'm going to be, I don't know if he gave as many hints as what Pep Linders did in his one. I always feel like Linders gives all these things
He
away.
just tells everyone what he's going to do. Yeah.
What we're doing.
These are tactics for the game. We're going to play.
Yeah. Yeah. At the 65th minute, I'm going to bring him on. Yeah.
Yeah. But it seems like Tuchel was just kind of like, oh yeah, I'm going to stick with that goalkeeper, and then he brings in Mendy. It's just kind of like, well, obviously Klopp always tells the truth. Doesn't always, but he'll either he definitely doesn't look like he lies. Whereas Tuchel like flat out just goes, I'm putting my best goalkeeper in, and then he does that weird thing of bringing on fucking Kepa last minute. So I do want to head towards perhaps the penalty shootout, because that's what a lot of people in the chat are talking about. We've got Rizla asking us here, whose was your favorite penalty between Trent's whip, Fabinho's Panenka?
Easy.
I think we all know. I think this one is probably the favorite.
But it's got to be. It's got to be.
Nick,
he's lining up on that right side, and he still puts it past him.
Nothing beats. It's not even the penalty for me. It's that
He just looks at him.
arrogant fucking stare after it, looks back at him and goes, you thought you were going to fucking trick me?
Yeah.
I'll still put it past you. Prick. Come on, bring it.
That look back to me, I swear to you, I was in my car, I'll never forget, because I pulled up at work and I was watching the penalty shoot out of my car. Anyway, because I didn't get it. I was late. But what were you going to say, George?
No, keep going. I'll go on.
You're going to do one by one? Do you want to do penalty one by one in order?
I was about to say that. You read my mind. Because I've got this open. And we're just going to relive the moments for everyone here. And you know what? Why don't you guys in the comments tell us how you felt before each pen, and tell us if you remember how it went down. I mean, can we remember these penalties? We're going to start with James Milner here. James Milner was the first one. Everyone, you know what? Me and Pete were talking about this earlier, and we will get to Mo Salah later on, but I feel like there are players that you just feel like they're going to score the pen, and there's players that you feel like that they're going to miss. And I was saying to Pete, despite his questionable early penalty record for Liverpool, I always thought Steven Gerrard was always going to score every pen. And I feel that way with James Milner for some reason, even though he missed that one against Southampton when we were heading for fourth place, where Fraser Forster was spouting bullshit into his ear. I felt like James Milner was going to score, and he did, and it was great. And he just looked like he was never going to miss.
Nah.
Jimmy?
No, he was never going to miss. He has this air about him. He's like the dad that turns up when the kids are playing football and the kids say, "Oh, not until the next person scores," and he just comes in and punts it into the top corner and says, "Right, we scored. We're going home." Like he's just like, "I'm just getting out of here. We're done." Turned up, put the ball in the back of the net, G'd up the crowd, walked away. No nonsense. And then I think it was Alonso that took the first pen for
Mhm.
Chelsea, and
There he is,
he puts in the
Marcos
back of the
Alonso.
net. He puts in the back of the net, but my goodness, he usually looks quite cool, calm, and collected, Marcos Alonso. But he didn't look at stepping up after Jimmy Milner put it in the back of the net like that.
I like
Look at his
this,
face
Nick.
leading up to the
Nick,
pen.
you give us a little photo of each person as they step
love
up. Look
it.
at that, calm as a
Look
cucumber,
at him. Look at him.
as like a pickle Rick, as calm as a pickle Rick.
He's just like,
That's
whatever,
what that
let's
is.
go. Bring it on.
Rate each pen. Are we going to rate each one of these? I thought Milner 10 out of 10. Beautiful. If it
Well,
goes in, 10 out of 10.
I don't care as long as it's in the net.
Marcos Alonso scores for them. I feel like one of us has to watch them in like real time so that we can like
I am.
remind us. You watch them and tell
Yeah.
us what happens, but don't show it on the screen. We might get banned.
Yeah, Alonso's gone bottom right corner, and Keller has almost got his hand to his penalty,
That's
but
right.
he's gone underneath him. So that was that one done there. And then Fabinho came up second. I don't know how the man had ice in his veins for that with that Panenka. Like, holy hell, man! Like, and you could just see Kepa. He got up in time, and he still couldn't get up to like palm it away. Like, just watching it now,
That was
he's
so
running,
disrespectful.
kick,
was
and
cold.
he's just stopped. His soul just left his body. You know, that's what happened there.
So disrespectful.
And you know what it is as well, because Kepa's come in and he's just gone like, I'm the keeper. I'm this one. I'm the penalty keeper. Do you know who I am? My name is literally keeper. I'm gonna do, and then like Fabinho just stooges him down the middle with a little chip. He got stooged every way you could get stooged.
Every
this guy. I
time.
swear, that poor guy. I actually started feeling sorry for him, but he was spouting bullshit the whole time. So trying to get in everyone's head. But Fabinho, man, I
watching the
give him a
Martinez
12 out of 10.
videos.
It's Van Dijk. Lukaku scored his one, went to the right of the goal of a keeper. But I'm watching Van Dijk's now. Like,
hold on, okay, hold on. Pause, because we're not up to there yet. So Lukaku steps up, and everyone reckons he's gonna flop like his. By the way, guys, what a strange thing. Lukaku comes in, scores 5 goals in half a game. And everyone thinks £100 million well spent, and now he's like the worst striker in the league. This is crazy, but he comes up, and it's not the greatest pen. If Kiva goes the right way, not Kiva is the female version. Kevin goes the right way. I reckon he saves it. It's crazy, but it is 2-2 after that, and he does go. Does he not go right? He goes.
The only thing that pissed me off about Kelleher in the penalty shootouts, I felt like he dived too early almost in every penalty.
Yeah.
He's a bit nervous a little bit because that's a final. That final matters. I mean, he's been in other finals. Has he been in other finals? Which other finals has he been in? That was it.
As a sub, maybe.
Yeah. But he's done other penalty shootouts, but this was big, So maybe he was diving a tad early. I think Allison would have saved a few. What do you reckon?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, there's a case for that.
But he's ahead of us here because I want to give this one the run up it needs. We'll bring Rizzler in. The celebration was priceless. So this is how I described it. You guys in the chat, any of you guys play FIFA 22?
Yes.
You to see these kids, these 12-year-old kids that do this with the keeper. So this is the goalkeeper, and they do this, and then they do that. And it's just like, and I just know I'm going to miss it because I'm like, fuck these guys with these glitches bullshit. And Van Dijk did the thing that I'm afraid to do in the game because it just physically doesn't work. Like the game does not allow you to stooge the keeper in that way, and he fucking did it, blasted it, and then just he like left and then looked back, like the double take. Like, are you serious, man?
Unbelievable stuff. I can't believe he actually thought it was going to work. Like, Van Dijk's going to go to the keeper's left, and he's going to have more than enough time to move over and stretch and palm it away or whatever. But like, just watching now, he started moving towards that left side, and then last minute he's like moved towards the right side, and he's still got nowhere near it. He's gone past him before he can even put a palm out to stop it. Like, no chance.
It's funny because I actually celebrated his celebration more than the penalty because obviously 3-2, you're like, you can't really like. So it goes in. I remember, like I said, I was just watching it on my phone. It goes in. I'm just going, and then I look back down and I see him doing the stare back, and I'm just going,
Those things matter. Like the double. The look back. I reckon Kepa was kind of like, I reckon Kepa. There was a moment where he just goes like, okay, that maybe wasn't the best thing, and then Van Dijk shot him that glance, and Kepa's kind of like, oh shit,
what the fuck just got into?
Yeah. He's just got that second wind of fear.
There's actually that actually reminds me of like there's a famous Kobe Bryant footage where can't remember who is it now. I've gone blank. Someone tries to throw the ball at his face, like point blank.
Yeah, I remember that.
And he just stares at him and he doesn't move. And the
Yeah.
guy just goes, fuck. All right, no, let's just try and play.
Intimidation tactics backfired.
Yeah.
Gone.
Oh, God.
Gone.
Well-
Havertz was after that.
Havertz goes next. Kai Havertz was I thought he was great in the whole game. Like, he's a really interesting footballer. I think he's Chelsea don't really deserve him.
He's
so
actually
weird.
improved since he first got there. When he first got there, he was in and out. He wasn't starting, and now he seems to sort of like found his stride. Maybe working with the German coach per se, a bit more time. Second season there. Timo Werner's still in all sorts. I don't know. Timo Werner doesn't exist to me anymore. If that makes
It
sense.
says a lot. It says a lot about Timo Werner when they put him 9th on the penalty list, and he's a striker.
Yeah, right.
And he looked suspect as well. Looking up, he was doing like
Boy's got
biting his
no
lip,
confidence.
Like, like shot completely. Oh, Trent was after Havertz, by the way.
Yeah, we'll get to that. By the way, I don't know what GHE means, but the camera angle was actually strange, wasn't it? Especially for like Reece James's penalty. I don't know when that comes up.
FIFA camera.
Well, it was like they were like up his ass. They were like all the way up, like all the way close to like Reece James. I'm like, is this ultimate zoom? Or is the cameraman like this behind him?
I think is that the spider cam that they have?
The spider cam. You see the size of this thing?
Yeah.
It's this big, massive black box just sitting behind the players, as if having 85,000 people around isn't hard enough, and you've got like millions of people watching your arse as you're about to take a penalty. Absolute nightmare.
Well, the next penalty, as you can see here, is the main man. Oh my God, this pen!
Beautiful.
Wow. I actually rate this one high because someone else. I think that was Rizla originally who got us onto this idea. Where was it? Was it Riz? Someone said that. Someone said about his pen, or someone else maybe said that they liked his pen, but it was just like it felt. I'm going to give Pete a bit of a heart attack here. It was a bit Gerrard. It was a bit Gerrard.
It went inside net, post net, like side netting. That's as far away as you can have it go without it smacking the post.
He was never going to miss.
Great pen.
And it was like when I saw that, did anyone get like the vibe of he could take our pens from now on? Did anyone just sit there and go, why doesn't he take our pens from now on?
I was about to fly over and shoot Salah for just trying to take the free kick off him. I want him on everything.
Absolutely. Well, there he is, Reece James, camera up his ass. He's just like, there's a spider on my shoulder.
I'm looking at it now. That was the most zoomed in penalty of the night. And Kelleher is literally standing. Kepa's doing these ones, right? He's doing like arms out, spread across, like doing these ones side to side. Kelleher's just like this, arms by side like this, just waiting. Just like, just come for it. That was what I wanted to say. Kelleher looks like the most calmest, most nonchalant goalkeeper in the world. He's just like, he'll pull off a fantastic save. He'll get up, be like, okay, what's next? Like, all right, whatever. Next, please. Just, it's not like he's got the arrogance. It's just like, I'm just doing whatever, if that makes sense. He just looks like he has no care on him whatsoever at all.
Didn't become a goalkeeper until he was 15.
Yeah, that's wild, man.
Yeah.
Striker as a kid.
Yeah.
And that was the we'll leave that piece of, for those who don't know, I think everyone knows it now. But yeah, that comes later on. But I just do want to give a shout out here to Jeff from the LFC Los Angeles, one of our fans over in the United States. Loves himself some Trent. You could say that for several people about taking a penalty, but Mo Salah wants his goals. You know what? I want Mo Salah's goals as well. I just want him to keep scoring so that he can get every record.
Mo goals.
Mo Salah, Mo goals.
Oh, yes.
Thanks, Biggie.
And this is a good point as well. As we're getting into the middle of this penalty shootout, we're not even halfway there yet. Hold on. My camera has turned off. So I will turn on my... How do I turn on my thing? Anyway, you're just going to get me with no video for the time being. We do have this moment here.
Thank God.
I'll come back in a sec. But we'll just go to the next penalty. You guys talk about Mo Salah scoring a goal because he always scores goals.
This is a
did
funny
anybody
one.
notice what he did differently?
He didn't do
start
the
wide. He didn't
side.
go wide moving in.
Yeah.
So 100% that was pre-thought of, because there was no way. Because did you see his little smiling and his little fucking smirk after he put that in?
Yeah.
It saw like he was going to take it, and then he just went whang, just straight at it and just put it in the net. And if you watch again, if you watch closely, Kepa actually kind of like reacts like, oh shit, and then before you know it, it's in the net. So I thought that was actually such a cool idea from Salah, who's got this almost superstitious like run up per penalty that he's taken. We had a look earlier; he's only missed 3 out of his last 15. So being a striker, being a goal scorer, being a professional footballer, superstitions are actually quite a massive part in their life. So to go away from that in a final goes to show you the balls of this bloke and how much he's actually thought about potentially taking a penalty in this match. So when I first saw that, because Kante, when we talk about his, does something very similar, but we're used to seeing Salah's run up where he takes that, like he clicks his heel side to side, and next thing you know, bang, he's off. And instead he just caught them all off guard. He caught me off guard. I was waiting for it too.
That's a really good point. That's a really, really good point there about the Salah run up. I noticed that he didn't do that either. I'm like, is he going to miss it now because of this? Like, I was so worried. And the thing I was going to bring up before. The thing I was going to bring up before, I'm not sure, Jimmy, if you were going to say something there, but just before I do come to you, the thing I was going to say was, despite the fact that Steven Gerrard always, there was a point where he started scoring his pens nonstop, but there was a little period where they gave the penalties to Xabi Alonso in like 2005, 2006. And then it was Xabi Alonso who does take the pen in the Champions League final, and he misses it. And then he gets the rebound. And then I think after that, Steven Gerrard started taking him again. But I always thought he was going to score. Mo Salah's the exact opposite. I don't know why. It might be because he missed his first ever penalty for Liverpool. And we just looked at the stats before this. Mo Salah, I think he's missed 3 and scored 15. It's an incredible record. Probably one of the best, in recent Liverpool history. But I always think he's going to miss. His run-ups are wild. The way he places it is wild. Sometimes he goes straight, left. It's so crazy. But he's such a good finisher. It makes sense that he should be able to finish it. But Mo Salah, like Pete said, he keeps improving. He's added he's added something else to his penalty taking, especially in a moment like this, and he has the gall to laugh at it. That's Mo Salah 5-4, just before we get to 5-5, and it was Jorginho with his bullshit. I tell you what, if I could say to Kelleher right now, bro, just don't dive. Let him do his little bullshit run up, and you will save it. You will catch it.
You know what? Havertz did the same thing. Havertz did a little hops, step, and then hit the side foot as well. He'd play a little bit of hopscotch. But yeah, just watching it now, Kelleher's got a little bit of movement. He's jumping up and down. And yeah, Kelleher's like shifted to the right. And then as Jorginho stepped, then he's gone left. And then Jorginho's like, yep, I know where I'm going. And he went opposite direction too.
And they're shit kicks. Right. They're bad just like kicks, Jorginho.
Nothings, man. They're side foot nothings. That's what they are.
Bro, this one.
Great penalty.
What about this one? What about this one? This one was, again, This one was FIFA as well, where you don't know how to play the game, so you just hit it down straight.
Yes.
Like, I don't know how to take pens, so I'm just going to rifle it down the middle.
Could have hit his foot, could have gone off Kepa's foot and been saved. It wasn't far off, to be completely honest with you. Like, just watching.
No, it wasn't the best of penalties.
I tell you what.
I was going to say before, obviously, Mo Salah at the AFCON a few weeks ago, the 5th penalty taker and all the hoo-ha that caused. We've obviously got 5 phenomenal penalty takers. And then everyone after that is 11. Just, I'm just going to pull, 11 now, but the 6 that come after the 5 is a bit of as long as it's the back of the fucking net, I don't give a shit. I'm going in for it, because the Jota penalty, and also we'll talk about the other ones, it quite literally was just one of those ones. It's just going that way. And if it goes in, that's great. Because the placement, there's just no placement in anything after the 5th penalty at all.
To be fair, mad. I thought Elliott was quite good. I thought Elliott took a very good penalty.
Under the pressure as well.
You know what's interesting? We arguably, Trent and Van Dijk, I don't think I've ever seen them in a top 5 penalty takers before. It looks like Liverpool went for stamina here in terms of the penalty shootout, because later on we'll see the likes of Divock Origi and Diogo Jota obviously here stepping up. Diogo Jota is one of our better penalty takers. He's the one that scores the winning penalty, so he's got that, that confidence, obviously. And Divock Origi hasn't missed a penalty, I don't think, for us. He's quite good at them. I might have to search that whilst you guys talk about Antonio Rudiger scoring, and then Divock Origi scoring. Why don't you guys talk about the big Div coming on and just doing his weird thing where he just and his was a shite pen, but Kepa went the wrong way. You know what it is? It's one of those penalties where the commentator says, "Oh, top class penalty."
No, it's one of those ones that
goes the wrong way.
If the keeper dives the right way, he just catches it.
Just like midriff.
So it's one of them ones that I think Div was lucky. Not lucky. I mean, maybe he's sending the wrong way with his eyes. Give him the old look in the corner before he takes it. But maybe he even just did like a Professor Xavier and entered his head and said, "You're going that way." So, because I did say that Divock is funny because it's like the perfect game for him, because nobody could score a goal. So who better to put on than some bloke who scores the most weirdest goals we've ever seen in football? So I was kind of happy he was coming on, but it's just his penalty was lucky he went the wrong way.
Yeah, just well, he's gone off center towards the keeper's left a little bit, but like if Havertz,
he's gone right essentially.
Yeah, he's right. So if Kepa sort of like just stayed there, he could have just like quick dive to his left and we would have saved it. Like it wasn't that much of a distance away, so average. But hey, the main thing is they go in. I mean, if you think about it, someone almost had their penalty saved as well. Was it our someone took a shot from
Kante.
Yeah, like he's got Kepa's got a palm to his, mate. So but we've got Kante up next.
This is a really good point from Daddy Pig, where you don't want to hit it too quick if you're going down the middle. I think that's maybe why he goes low, because keepers will jump and then their feet will kind of like what Dudek was, where their feet are kind of in the air. I think Jota's penalty was actually quite good because he's kind of thought of all of those things. It's very hard to hit the ball straight and low. It's probably, if the goalkeeper stands straight, then he's probably going to save it. But that's a great point. You don't hit it as quick because then the goalkeeper is going to have enough time to. Basically, it's coming at him so quick that he's still in the middle of the goal. He hasn't had time to dive yet. And he's also informed us, Daddy Pig, that Div did miss a pen. And it was only after that he wanted him sold. I think Pete Kafinis has wanted him sold after several other instances, including winning corners for us.
I was hitting the post against Burnley when we should have been 2-0 up. That shit me the most.
Can we just celebrate the title, the trophy, please?
Thank you. Kante.
N'Golo Kante comes up and just does his world-class thing. I just love him. I think he's such a good player. Robertson. There's Jimmy Nicholson.
Here
he is. Here it was. Did you guys see his eyes do that thing? He just went, yeah. And he looked at the crowd and his eyes were like, he's just ready to kill someone.
I remember saying, if he scores, we're going to just win this penalty shootout, because his corners that whole game was so bad. If he scores, we have to win. It's as simple as that. And his crossing during the game, like gave us a lot of energy. He gave us a lot of outlets. He did a lot of good things, but more so when the ball was at his feet, I feel like none of his crosses really found our players, and I thought his corners were horrendous. And then if he scores his penalty, there's no way we're losing.
That's after he scored.
He's one of these players. You see his interviews and stuff like that, and he speaks quite well and everything like that. But when he's on the pitch, he just makes noises. He doesn't actually speak to people. Just just shouts at people, and that's it. Doesn't do anything else. It's phenomenal. Brilliant penalty. Brilliant penalty.
Brilliant. Just opposite end of the keeper. If a keeper dives on that side, though, does he save it? Because it wasn't in the corner somewhere. It was still relatively savable in that sense.
But it had a good pace on it. It had a good pace on it.
Yeah. If anything, the fizz on it would have taken a pass. Yeah,
well, this is what I like, because Timo Werner comes up, and you know what, guys? I actually thought he was going to miss. I thought this is where they missed, because he just crap. He's so shit. It's crazy. And
he nearly said this about saved, dude.
Yeah, did it?
You got
which way did he go?
He
did
underneath his
under him.
palm. Yeah,
there you go. Timo Werner. The problem I had with him early on, like before when he was at Leipzig, was he just looked like I mean, obviously in the UK you call it park football, but I like making it sound even dumber than that by using park soccer, like Sunday League, where he just runs straight. He runs in like definite lines. He runs straight, then he can run at that angle, and at this, he can't move himself. He's not fluid. And I was like, look, he's a good footballer. I thought the same thing about Pulisic, and then Chelsea went and bought them both, and they've both been quite disappointing. Pulisic less so. But he is just rubbish. And I thought he would. I thought he was going to miss. I thought that was the moment. I literally thought that Kelleher would save Timo Werner's penalty. That was the and it was close as well. I was almost correct in that prediction. But as it stands, Kelleher would have to save his heroics for another moment. Werner scores for 8-8. And then we got Harvey Elliott. What a moment. I thought he was going to miss. I actually thought he was going to miss, but maybe not. I don't know. Then I thought he'd never miss, and then he didn't. And then it was fantastic.
Good
Harvey Elliott, guys.
That's some size of cojones. 18 years old to step up in that pressure. He didn't have a good game when he came on. He was quite invisible for large parts of it when we needed him to really show up. Apart from obviously when he got into a bit of an argy-bargy, but man, to step up, was it the 9th penalty and to put it in the back of the net like that? I couldn't do that.
That's huge. And he was 9th. So they're like, we don't want you to take one.
Yeah, nah.
Please don't take one.
But he's got arrogance as well for his age.
Yeah.
Bro, he took a flare from the crowd and just started.
Why do you think I used it in the thumbnail?
So bad.
Why do you think I saw it? I'm just like, is that from today's game? I saw the champions thing on the jersey. I'm just like, I'm using that in the thumbnail. I have to. I don't think with players with flares, you just G's me up. I love it.
I wanted to share it, but I'm not allowed to because Nick knows why. But that's just
How good is that?
I would have loved to have shared that picture, but I just can't.
At full time, you just see the Kelleher and everyone else goes towards the corner of the stand, and then you just see like little pockets of plumes of smoke in the crowd. You see it, and he's all holding him up. Then you just see red smoke. You're just like, it just G's me up so much. I love it, man.
Well, Thiago Silva comes up, and if there's ever a penalty I thought was going straight in, it was Thiago Silva.
No, I thought he was going to miss. I actually thought he was going to miss.
No, I thought it was. I had absolutely no doubt about this one. Was he World Cup winning? He's won everything.
He's like the James Milner style. You know that he can put a penalty back in it. You're not going to worry about it. He was going to do that. No problem.
She had a decent game. Then it was Kante. This was the one. Wow. Doing my Jurgen Klopp impression. Wow. What I
like his run-up, George.
Yeah.
You like it?
I think that's why it goes in.
Like the Hulk.
Because it was more like he was stepping back and like he's going to set this thing up and blah, blah, blah. Then he just explodes, takes off, and just wins at the ball.
I reckon he stooged him. I reckon if he does a normal run-up, it's like the opposite of Mo. If he does the normal run up, I think Kepa goes, I know what I'm doing, but he stooged him again. Kepa with all these mind games, he's just got stooged.
Yeah,
there it is.
So I actually think that his explosive run up is exactly what threw him off and actually gave him that split second right there for the ball to go in. Yeah,
split second, guys. You're getting
it's palmed. It's like flapped at his fingers and like gone in.
You could hear it as well. Just the
and
it's just man, that. Horrible, but I think I agree. I think it's the run up that gets him the goal. If he just keeps the normal pace, he's missed. It's saved. He's just caught him off perfectly.
And I agree with Antio Chill here. Me neither. I'm sick of this team. We can't beat them in 90 minutes. I swear. This is ridiculous.
Next round, we're playing next round in Champions League.
Oh God.
Yeah.
I just want. We just need like 4-0 or something like. It's just 4-0 in like 20 minutes. That's the only way to beat them. But then again, they'll probably score 4 back. I think we just need a last-minute goal or pen or something like that. Yeah. But here we go. Trevor Chalobah. I don't even remember thinking about this one. Just whatever. Because I knew the keepers were coming up because this happens.
Well, Kelleher goes the right way.
There it is. And we had the reveal to this, but Kevin Kelleher used to be a striker. But it's not about that, guys. It's not about the fact that he used to be a striker. It's the fact that Jurgen Klopp, I think Alisson has said it. They say it in the local like LFC TV commentators say it. I think I've heard Virgil van Dijk say it before. They say he's one of the best they've ever seen with his feet. He's 2-footed as well. I expect FIFA to give him 4-star, 5-star weak foot. He's but just quietly, have you ever seen this guy falter with his feet? He's so good. And I knew he was actually going to put his pen away because he's great with his feet, guys. Jimmy, he's great with his feet.
Phenomenal with his feet. You see it when he plays the games, though. Like they all have full confidence to put the ball back to him. and let him have a think where it's going to go next, whether it's long, whether it's short for his distribution. He's never looked phased when he's got players running at him because he knows he can get rid of it. Never had a concern. Alisson does that 90% of the time. What, Pete, you got a look on your face?
I was going to say, if Alisson was taking the penalty, he would have done a Rabona.
George, you want to just share the screen for a sec, just so you can see his face before the penalties take? Just look at his face.
Oh God, is this we're gonna get in trouble for a screenshot from YouTube?
No, just a screenshot. But like, look at his face. He's just like whatever. Like, I'm walking up to the penalties, like whatever.
We're gonna get banned. We're gonna get banned. I'm gonna take it off.
You're not. There's no audio. There's no video. You're talking over it. That's fine. It's just photos. But like, as you see him on there when he moves up to it, and
there we go. Okay, yeah.
And then after it, he just goes back into his net. He's just like, all right, I've scored, so I'm just going to turn around and go back to my net after that.
He's like a video game character, you know, like in like
no emotion.
They had no emotion yet. Like they just had like face, like GoldenEye, where it's just like this Brosnan's head like that. But yes, that was absolutely. That's key, and it was a great pen. I actually don't think a keeper saves that. Like if you think about it was Kanate's penalty, but on the other side, but it was a better pen. Because it was curling with the right footer outside. So the goalkeeper probably gets a finger to that, but I don't think he saves that. I think it's borderline unsavable unless the goalkeeper knows before the fact.
I'm with you on that, George. I just look the trajectory is where he hit. I think if a keeper dives up and out, they get to it. But if they go like midriff, like just sort of like a little hop down, if they get a palm to it, like Kepa's with Kanate's, that's another similar situation there. It's like Kanate's. I think you just said that there. But he sent him the wrong way, and it's gone corner back.
It's good
of the
power.
net, and good power behind it, and just no celebration, nothing, just calm as he just exhales and then just steps in goal, and you can see Bobby's there, smiling with his great white teeth and his sunglasses so you don't go blind. Alisson's there as well, clapping him, celebrating him, cheering him on, and just gone back in goals, and he's just like, oh, I'm ready to save this pen, but he didn't need saving.
And the best part was after they showed Firmino and Alisson, they then cut to a picture of Mendy. Just
I'm looking at him right now. I'm looking at him. He's just arms on his shoulders, like don't fucking. Like you can see he's doing those ones.
Dude, in his head, he's just all you can hear is fucking penalty specialist. Like,
I won a penalty shootout. Not more than a few weeks ago, sorry. And you're putting this guy in goals? Come on, bro.
Man.
Well, this is it here. This is the one. Mr. Kepa. They didn't even give him a match rating. Minutes played 1. SofaScore just went, fuck that. We can't even be bothered. It's not even like, because 0 is actually a number. Like in mathematics, 0 is technically a number. He's got you can't even put him in a calculator. The calculator will read error. It's like an exclamation mark. It's like it's mathematically impossible to give him a rating. That's how poor he was. But they bring him on for this moment, and I feel bad. I actually felt bad for him, but I've got to get over my humanity and my empathy and my sympathy, put it to one side, and I just have to say, I mean, doesn't that happen to us all the time, Pete? Yeah. This type of thing, where all the narratives, where the commentators say these things like, oh, and, like we're playing Norwich, and it's just like, Johnny Howson has not scored a goal in the Premier League for 8.5 years, and the last goal he scored was against Liverpool, and it's just like, here we go.
It's funny you bring that up because I was thinking about that today when it was Trent's penalty, and the commentator was like, "Well, if there's any player that he's not going to miss their penalty, it's this person right here." And I'm thinking to myself, "Shut the fuck up!"
Yeah. Give us all the jinx. Give us the jinx, please. But they did it to them. They finally had one. Like it was like they brought on the keeper. And he was always going to miss. It was always going to
go top left, to be fair. I predicted he'd go that way. I just didn't know he'd go that high.
Oh, my God. And we're looking about this. I mean, Jason says they're still looking for the ball. And that's true. I reckon it went out of the stadium. I actually
Have you seen the video?
Yeah. So I've seen it from the red man.
Footage of the fans celebrating when he misses. And then all of a sudden, you just see like this ball just go, wee, into the fans.
Someone throws it back.
Yeah, I'll try to see if I can find it. It's hilarious. Do you actually see his penalty?
Well, there's also this from our mate over in Los Angeles. Now Jeff isn't one for the American football. He's more of a proper football type of guy. But obviously is exposed to the Super Bowl, more of an American football field goal. Absolutely, that was a conversion. That was a full-on conversion, rugby league style.
You know what it is? If it was a goal kick, it's a fantastic goal kick. That's what it is. Like, I'm sure I haven't watched Kepa, every minute of every game that he used to play a year or two ago, but I'm sure when he took goal kicks, they looked exactly like that and they were fantastic. So it's just from the penalty spot. It's almost like he just went into autopilot and I was like, right, sweet, ball at my feet. Who's up there 50 yards? Go. And that was it. Game over.
George, I just put in the group chat the video of the fans celebrating when he misses it. You can see the ball fly.
Do we put it on? Do you want me to put it on?
Yeah, put on.
There's
okay.
a meme
all right.
as
Well, you guys have a bit
well.
of you guys just have a bit of a chat about this thing happening because that happened. We just got to have another laugh at it. This happens to us all the time. They brought on this bloke, especially for this moment, and he literally the substitution that the manager made lost him the game. You're so smart, aren't you, Mr. Tuchel?
It's one of those ones, right? From my memory, it had never been done before until Tim Krul came on for the Netherlands at the World Cup, whenever it was.
2014,
and at the time, first time I'd ever seen it in like tactical genius, because Tim Krul had just spent his entire summer studying people taking penalties. But then it's now at the point where it's like, if you're doing it, it's almost like, yeah, you're doing it, but you're not the first person to do it, so it's just not going to work. Like, it works when someone does it the first time, like the Trent corner that Divock Origi scored against Barcelona. You can try and do that 100 times again, it'll never work.
Yeah, exactly.
It's done. Don't do it again.
I like this from Bryonak. Hi guys, I found a football at my backyard. Don't know where it came from. Can anyone tell me? Well, could be. Unless this video that we're about to watch does show us otherwise. Is there a lot of great noise in this one, or do we have to do our own commentary? Is there good noise to this?
There's noise.
There's noise. Should I try and get the noise happening? I don't think the noise is going to work because I don't think I've put. Maybe it will. Who knows? Maybe it will work. We'll just see. Anyway, add to stream. Let's see what happens.
Oh no.
Watch. Did you see the ball flying?
Yeah.
For sure, yeah.
You know why? Because it's really like stuttery.
There it
is. Yeah. Wee!
I want to try and find it.
Go back. Yeah.
I think that's the best video I've ever seen.
That's brilliant.
Oh, it's fantastic. I love it.
So good. Oh my goodness! There we go. We're bringing the world events into it.
Yeah, it didn't take long.
Not a good day for Russia all around, was it? Are we allowed to talk about that? Whoops! We're gonna get targeted.
Well, hey, we'll be playing the Champions League final in Paris this year now, not St. Petersburg, where it's meant to be now.
Yeah.
So in Paris.
Not a good day for Mr. Abramovich. Lost control of his club, and now he lost the final.
Lost the final.
Whoopsie daisies, mister. But that was great. That was fun, rating those penalties. Do we want to talk about it? Maybe just a man of the match. I reckon that's a really nice way to kind of wrap things up here. You guys in the comments, by the way, I want to hear from you guys, all 10 of you, or however many is watching at this moment. Man of the match for this game, and tell us why. And I might go to you first, Nick, because I can see your finger in the air.
No, sorry. I was going to say we've got to give special mention to Minamino and Jota for getting us to this final, because without their goals, especially Minamino's against Leicester to score in the last minute, 3-2, whatever it was, we wouldn't be making it here. Jota against Arsenal. So we've got to give credit where credit is due, and every other player that sort of like came in along the way. I just thought it was a nice touch to see them there. It would have been nice to see him actually, play. But such as it goes, no tack in this game here. It would have been nice to see him come on at least maybe, but I guess for a final, you want your proven players. Like we mentioned it last week, Jimmy, if you remember, like if you're playing a final, I think Pete was on the stream as well. If you're playing a final, do you play your strongest? You have a bit of a mix of both. And, it would have been nice to see him at least get some minutes on the pitch, but, he was he was there and he did end up celebrating in the end. But yeah, got to give credit to Taki because he got us here. And Diaz, I saw an interesting, funny clip here. Not funny clip, rather. It says here, since Everton last won a trophy, Luis Diaz was born, grew up, became a professional footballer, signed for Liverpool, and won the League Cup.
That's so upsetting.
Wow.
Dude, did you see the one comment on like Liverpool's thing was like, you guys are embarrassing. This is how you celebrate a League Cup win. And it was an Evertonian.
Oh my
God.
days. You'd be frothing to win
upsetting.
anything.
Look, I think it's a bit unfair that Everton go out like that. I mean, all we're doing is adding to the Merseyside trophy cabinet. I mean, that's now 9 League Cup wins for Merseyside teams, which I think is fantastic. So everyone's doing their part. So I'm glad that we can contribute to that in our own way.
Well, with man of the matches, we've got Jeff over in LA saying Tuchel. That's a great call.
Yeah,
that's a great call. Absolute mastermind of a manager there. Masterminded that one. Antio Chill said, well, Antio Chul. I don't know if that's an I. No, it's just Antio Chul. No vowels. What's that? It's like Icelandic. Diaz. We finally have our own Eden Hazard. Man, Diaz, relentless, man. Just constantly taking on his man. He's so quick as well.
Ooh.
I didn't think he'd be that fast. Go on, Nick. Anything?
Well, I was going to say, we didn't mention Mane getting subbed.
Yeah, I know, because we went a little bit full throttle on those pens. We could talk a little bit about
the didn't look too happy being subbed and the offside as well, and Lukaku's offside.
All right, well, let's keep it going. Let's keep it going. We're gonna put a pin. We're gonna put a pin in these man of the matches because I want to talk about this one thing, by the way. So putting a pin in the man of the matches, you 10 watching, hold your horses, but we do like your man of the matches coming, and I'll come back to that. First of all, we score a goal. I think Sadio Mane is on the pitch when that happens. Is he not? I think Sadio Mane is still on the pitch because he's the one who assisted. He assisted. He assisted the goal. I mean, Sadio Mane and Mo Salah, industry over finesse in this game. This is my wordsmith in action again. I think it's not the worst thing to have industry over finesse because that's sometimes the types of performances that Liverpool need, especially when they've brought in someone like Diaz. Maybe, your Mane and Salahs don't necessarily need to be taking on 6 players on their own because they've basically committed 2 players to Salah on that right side. It's Alonso Rudiger every single time. I thought he looked good when he came inside. And he didn't lose the ball that much. He was always trying to play decisive passes. But a lot of people, the rhetoric was that he was quite poor. But Sadio Mane, I also thought he was okay as a number 9, but he does get brought off. I don't know, pick and choose. Someone wanted to talk about Sadio Mane.
Yeah, and it was just me because I found it interesting him being subbed off in the 80th, and then he's bringing on Jota for him, and Milner came on for Kante, which you can understand. You're going into the grafting time of the match, and I just found it interesting that he takes off Sadio, and it looks like his reaction wasn't that of one being way too pleased. My main point was like with Diaz playing on that left side, brilliant, fantastic. That's Mane's side at the moment. So I'm not saying it's going to happen, but my thinking is if Mane does leave or go somewhere else this coming off season after, is that left position going to be Diaz's, or is he going to be shifted more into a central role?
It's interesting because I actually noticed that Luis Diaz for Colombia and I was going to write this. I was actually going to write it on our page, and it's happened every single time since. When the ball's on the left, he's out on the left. But when the ball is out on the right, he's in the box immediately. He doesn't like staying out there. The way that we don't like Salah staying on the wing, he's immediately into the box. And there's sometimes when you see him out on the right because he's come looking for the ball so much. And I don't know if Klopp's seen that and just gone, you do you, bro. Like, do whatever as long as in defense you get back to there. And he seems to be doing that. So I haven't really minded that. I don't know about you guys, but I reckon he can play all across the front 3, Jimmy.
Yeah, I think it's going to be something that we're going to see a lot more often, not just in Diaz, but where maybe not Mo Salah as much, but your Jotas, your Mane, your Diaz are going to be that interchangeable options. And it could be games where they're playing as a front 3 and they're just going to float and they're just going to rotate and switch. And they're just, however it falls, however it plays, that's where they're going to be. I think that would work really well. Obviously, there's the concern about, well, if I'm tracking back in defence, what side am I following? How do I make sure that I maintain that? We don't have 3 players on one side. But they can all do a job in all different positions in some way, shape or form. So maybe that's something that we might see going forward, because we've now got, rather than having 3 quality attackers and 1 or 2 options from the bench, we've now got 5, 6 world-class players, and you need them to be able to play across the front. You can't just have them in just one position. You need to be able to interchange them.
Absolutely. And then we get to this moment because actually we're going to say bye to Nick. So Nick, we'll see you later.
Unfortunately, I have
we're going to. That's all right. We're going to, but as you go, we're going to talk about VAR. Probably the thing that just absolutely marred the
Nick
game.
Makes
here.
us keep going past the hour mark because he wants to bring it up and then leaves.
Yeah, classic.
I never said you had to. I just said we didn't talk about it because we'll talk about it another time. Thanks for watching. Goodbye. You guys want to roll it on to overtime. I don't look at. But this is our extra
we're going to talk
now.
about VAR. We're going to talk about it. I don't know if you want to say something. Just say something. Say the first word that comes to your head about VAR in this game.
The Van Dijk thing, like, is it a foul or is it offside? Like, is he fouling Reece James by holding him back, or is it because his foot's there because he's not actually playing at the ball? It's one of those ones. Is it a foul or is it an offside? And then for Lukaku's, we know what that feels like. Merseyside derby, Mane's sleeve, someone's fucking toenails longer than the other. That's why their boots like a millimeter more than the defender and shit like that. Like, microscopic. They say, like, well, if it's a goal, it's a goal. It's over the line. If it's offside, well, then it's offside. There are no ifs or buts. But like, can you really, with like 1080p imagery, can you really scan in and say you need like 8K? Don't worry about 4K. You need 8K resolution to actually see the fine margins of these offsides that these people are judging. So whatever, it worked in our favor this time, but granted, when we're going to need it, it's probably going to work against us and we'll be screaming our heads off again at it. So I'll leave it there. So VAR, we won. That's what matters. Peace out.
Oh, well, see you later, Nick. Oh my, look, I think we would have been upset if the Lukaku one went against us, but I think the idea, what Nick was saying there, and in our group chat, Steve was saying the same thing. The idea behind the Van Dijk one was it was not a foul, and this is what Andy Gray over in the BN Sports studio, why they keep giving this guy a job. But he was saying it's either a foul or it's offside. You can't, and it's just like, no, bro. What they're saying is he impeded. It's not a foul. There's no foul play. He's just impeded. And you can impede in the game. There is legal impediment. Is that a word? Impediment? Is that what you impede?
Yeah,
I don't know if I've made
100%.
it. But I don't. You can. There is legal ways to impede a player. But if you're offside, they're calling it illegal. I don't think he does impede him though, because my point is with this one, we just do it all the time. What you do is you push a player so he's offside, or you wait to see if someone is offside, then go up to them and grab them. And so therefore they are technically in, because James has a hold of Van Dijk as well. What if James goes to Van Dijk, holds him first?
But what about everyone who holds Salah every fucking game?
Exactly. Yeah. The biggest problem I have with this decision that we had against us, the Matip goal that was disallowed, is that this happens every single week. And this is now the new norm. Should this be the new norm? And that's what I hate about these referees, is that every game there's a new norm, because in the next one they won't give it. What game was it when Alisson was completely like, was it West Ham? He was absolutely like, everyone was on him on the line and they were impeding him. And they just go, no, there was nothing going on there. I mean, we were asking for a foul. That's different to an offside impediment. But this has now changed. They have to do this all the time, arguably.
Well, that's it. You're now setting an expectation, aren't you? It's like, well, if that's how it works in this game, then every single time this comes up, you're now going to have to check every single ball into the box.
That also means that we're never going to get a penalty ever again for a handball, thanks to Manchester City.
No, well, yeah, there's also that one. Yeah, but it's now to the point where anything that's happening, and this is the thing that frustrates me. There was a few times, especially in that second half, and I think into extra time, where there was claims for handball, but there was not even a look at replays. But then this happens, and Van Dijk's foot is sticking out. But because he's brushed James, we need to watch that. We need to watch that multiple times to see if that is if that's worthy of calling. And it's a bit like, well, how can we look at this one and we take 2-3 minutes to work this thing out, but then all these other things happen, but then we decide that we're not going to watch those ones, or we're ever going through everything as a fine-tooth comb. And don't get me wrong, VAR for the most part has been getting in some sense better, but it's been a huge number of flaws at the same time. So it's a very, is it VARs or is it human errors as well? Though that's the other argument on top of that. So
That's what a lot of
it's
a lot of people
just,
say that.
Yeah, so it's just now a case of you either look at everything and you now delay the game, and the game's going to take 2.5 hours to finish because you have to stop every 30 seconds, or you let these things go because it's taking the piss.
It's this part that pissed me off though, because no Chelsea player complained, not one.
No,
Watch-
they didn't
watch it
know.
again.
They didn't understand what happened. When it was disallowed, they're like, what for?
Yeah.
Look at it again. Reece James, the person who was obviously apparently affected by Van Dijk's illegal actions, didn't even say a thing. His hand didn't go up to the referee. He never approached the referee. He just did the whole, shit, they scored.
This is the question, Pete. This is the question. Would Reece James have had any chance
None.
of getting to that header that Sadio Mane gets to? And the answer is fucking no. He's 5'7", and he was way behind the play. And he was not impeded at all.
3 to 4 meters off Mane already as it is. So by the time he actually gets close enough to Mane's already headed across goal.
Yeah, it's already gone.
So
It's such bullshit. And
for
he
me, that has to
changes the
stand.
decision. Yeah.
That has to stand, that goal. And to be fair, I didn't even think Lukaku was that far offside either. So I think
No. Well, that's what I was going to say.
That was...
When we go to this, talking about VAR, I actually think, and this has happened to us before, I always bring up the FA Cup game where Liverpool get handed, I think, a penalty, and I think that's the worst thing. At the time, Chelsea were getting everything. It was the worst thing because we're not. I don't want one pen. I'd rather a whole game of decisions. And so sometimes getting the decision against you, kind of like what Liverpool did here, I reckon the ref is still just thinking, that was a kind of a fucking shit call. I reckon in that VAR booth, when they saw Lukaku's sleeve offside, they went, draw the line from the edge of his sleeve, make sure it's as far as you can.
Yeah,
Let's
make
keep
it
this
even.
0-0 because we fucked up on that last one. And I reckon they were just looking for that offside because you know what? In my opinion, not offside in a million years.
I
definitely wasn't.
I agree with you.
Well, guys, man of the match as we go to you. I didn't ask you guys. I'm going to ask you guys who your man of the match was. We have had some interesting comments here from everybody. We've had joint man of the match, VVD and Kelleher. I think Kelleher's a really good shout. We've got I think some other people here have said we had Diaz, we had Trent. I actually would have said Trent Alexander-Arnold. Jimmy, do you have a man of the match for the game?
I think if you look at the game for 120 minutes, for me, it's Kelleher. I think Van Dijk and Trent are fantastic shouts, and they were phenomenal, but it has to be Kelleher. 2-3 absolute fantastic saves. You got to remember, this is a kid that has only played in the cup games. I think he's played maybe 1 or 2 league games as well. So not much. So to be on form and called upon against a quality side like Chelsea, and in all fairness, when Lukaku did come on, he actually looked like a quality striker that Chelsea need, and he was a really useful outlet to them. But he made was it the 95th minute, I think it was, just before full time. But he just made that split second save where Lukaku just managed to somehow get a toe and just curl it around the defence from about 4 or 5 yards out. You need that in the 5th minute when he makes that save in the very start of the first half. You need that at the very last minute of the game. Granted, probably could have done better on the penalty shootout, but we've won. He scored the winning penalty. The rest is history. Phenomenal game. Fully deserves man of the match and the recognition that he gets for it.
Pete, man of the match for the
You
game.
could argue Mendy. To be fair, because you could argue Mendy.
Yeah.
Even that save off Van Dijk's header, I thought that was.
So that was
So that you can argue Mendy. I agree with the Kelleher shouts, by the way. For me, I love the Trent's performance as a whole because they targeted him and he dealt with absolutely everything that they threw at him. But I have a secret man of the match for post game, and it's
Tsimikas.
Tsimikas. He's a loose cannon. Did you see the photos of him with his feet inside the trophy?
Yeah,
he's mental.
What's wrong with this bloke? And then the video of him with the like the celebrations with the trophy, and he jumped on Mane's shoulders and
with the Griggs, with the Will Griggs song as well. He goes in the middle like that. He's his arms everywhere, and he's in the middle doing Zabekika. He's doing Greek dance.
You can see why they all love him. You can see why they all love him. He's just this pure energy, like it's quality.
Yeah,
the Greek scouser.
living the dream. Living the dream.
Well, guys, before we sign off, a lot of people have actually asked for this. We had Jeff here talking about what goes on after 120 minutes. What happens at Norwich? That's what Jeff was talking about over in Los Angeles. We've got Antiochul talking about an off-topic starting 11 for FA Cup. I think this is a fair question as we start to wrap up because these players are spent. Is it just, Norwich are shite. I mean, it would be really great to verse Luton Town like Chelsea are, but Norwich are shite. So... Yeah, look, it's got to be a full, just clean sweep.
Yeah.
I mean,
you're expecting Curtis Jones in the middle of the park, Oxlade-Chamberlain, Divock Origi because he didn't play that long, Minamino, Tsimikas, Konate again. Yeah, it's Konate, Joe Gomez at right back. Potentially Reece Williams. Would he come back into play? Because Matip came off early, is Matip going to be, I think, 3.5 days for Matip's more than enough to get back into that game as well. So, same for Kante, by the way. So I wouldn't be surprised if it's a back four of Tsimikas, Kante, Matip, and a Gomez.
Konate, Gomez. And who's right back?
No, Gomez is right back, Matip centre back.
Yeah.
Oh, you reckon Matip? Okay.
Yeah, I think because he came off at the 70th, whatever it was.
80th minute he came off.
He had more
came off at full time actually.
Mm-hmm. Konate, kind of like DVD version 2, and then we've got Gomez. That's a great shout. Gomez out here. Yeah. Gomez is now our he's now our right back. I'm so upset for him, but that's what he has to do because he just keeps getting injured. So we bought another centre back. Sorry, bro. Goalkeeper Adrian or Alisson?
Alisson. Yeah.
If you guys have anything, here we go. What do we got here? Jogo is healthy. He is healthy.
Yeah.
Just wasn't in the lineup at all. What else are we thinking here? Midfield.
So Curtis Jones, Oxlade-Chamberlain, and potentially maybe
Hendo goes off. Elliot could play.
Yeah, it could be Jones, Elliot, Ox.
Ox could be here, but you know who's actually here? What's his name? Scouser. Cater? Is he Scouser?
Morton.
There you go.
Yeah, young boy.
Cater, by the way, Cater, because he didn't play the full game, Cater could be more than fit enough for that as well. Same for Hendo. So, because it is a 2.5 day rest.
Okay. And then front three. This is the interesting one. It has to be Origi. It has to be Taki.
And then
Jota this one. Oh yeah, Jota can play.
So I wouldn't be surprised if it's Mane because he came off earlier as well.
Correct. He might be wanting some. He might be wanting some retribution here.
Actually,
no Connor Bradley. This is a great shout.
Yeah.
Maybe they go like this then. Maybe they go here. And then here we got Bradley. What about that?
Yeah, potentially.
Just mentioning Manny, actually. Klopp has played Taki in midfield a couple of times this season, so you might see Jones as the 6, which he's also done a couple of times with Taki and Ox either side.
He actually did that very well when he was playing that deeper role.
Mm. That was against Preston, I think, was it?
Yeah. But I'm surprised if it's Taki on the right and Mane on the left.
Mm.
Yeah, you could have... so Mane could go there and Taki could go there. Taki has to play. Has to. Yeah. Jones has to play. Ox has to play. Could be Morton, or could be you could see Jones in there as well. Jones getting out of trouble. But I tell you what, that team beats Norwich. Let's just use it this way. That team beats Norwich. I'm happy with that team.
I don't know about Jota starting after being injured for a little bit.
You're right. We'll get him out of there. That's going to be. This is going to be Mane. What about that?
Yeah, so it could even be Ox up there, and it could even be Elliot, or Hendo again. You don't know, but even with that, we've said all the same names. It doesn't really matter, but it's all. I think regardless of what the variations of the names we've mentioned, it's more than enough to knock out Norwich.
Yeah. Before you made the change for Elliot, there you're 2 players off the same team that beat AC Milan. I mean, that says it all.
Absolutely. Well, guys, we've got a team here that beats Norwich. We had a team before. We went through each and every one of them. The ones that Cade Gordon. That's a great call. But I think we've got too much quality. Got too much quality. But yeah, here we go. A couple of corners today. Could have used Costas. Don't worry, we're going to be seeing the corners against Norwich. But we just gave you a team there that's going to beat Norwich. We just saw a team. We went through each and every one of them. These penalty takers, these heroes. And it all ends with the striker himself, Kevin Kelleher, the hero, after Jurgen Klopp repays the faith in his young goalkeeper, age 23, still such a young goalkeeper. Guys, it's been fantastic. It's been really great to have all you guys in the comments. Really great to see you. We'll be back probably post Norwich for something. So watch this space, watch the Red Sea Down Under, watch everything with regards to the Red Sea podcast. We are the champions of the League Cup, the Carabao Cup, Portuguese style beer. Diogo Jota is one of our Portuguese players.
Energy drink,
I'm sure he
isn't it?
would have enjoyed that. Pete?
It's an energy drink.
It's not a beer. Oh well, maybe put it in a vodka, make it alcoholic. Who knows? You know, they're spraying spring water now or fizzy water now because they don't want alcohol out on the pitch. So that's
also because of the Muslims in the team as well that we have out of
it's
respect.
disrespectful.
Yeah,
correct. Well, guys, we're the League Cup champions for a record 9th time. Hopefully, we do lift the FA Cup, and then Jurgen Klopp would have won it all. But this season, we don't just want those two. We want the full quadruple. The quadruple is on, and it's going to be a huge week of football for us again. But the one that we're all going to be looking forward to is Norwich, and then after that, Premier League, so that we can close that gap on Manchester City. It's going to be against West Ham, those mugs who beat us last time. It's retribution time. We are out for revenge, and we're going to get all of you. The Reds are coming. Up the Reds, and see you guys later. Bye.